In a subdivision on the north side of Peoria, Arizona, there are two houses, one block apart. Same builder, same year, 1997. One is 3,388 square feet. The other is 3,387, 1 square foot apart. Both have a pool. Both have a three-car garage. One of them has been for sale for 441 days. The other one, 3 days ago, stopped being for sale and became something else entirely. And what it became tells you more about the American housing market right now than any chart the Federal Reserve will publish this year. Almost nobody is looking at these two houses. I've spent 17 years inside mortgage lending, and when I pulled the actual files on both of them this week, I found 5 things. The fifth one is the reason I made this video, and it's going to change the way you look at your own house. Here's the part that should worry you. The owner of the second house bought it in May of 2022 for $617,000. That was the exact top of the Phoenix market. In March of this year, he listed it for $635,000. He cut to $625,000. He cut again to $615,000. He got nothing. And on July 1st, he pulled it off the market entirely. 3 weeks of silence. And then on July 22nd, 3 days ago, he came back. Not for sale, for rent. $2,875 a month. That man is not a landlord. He is a failed seller. He tried to get out, the market said no, and now he is renting you his mistake for less than his own mortgage payment costs him. Because at any reasonable financing on a $617,000 purchase from 2022, his payment is somewhere north of $3,100. He is losing money every month you live there, and he's doing it because the alternative was worse. That's your landlord in 2026. To understand why that matters, you have to see what everyone else believes right now. Because the entire internet is telling you two things, and they are both incomplete. Dave Ramsey's whole world tells you that renting is throwing money away, that a payment builds equity, and rent builds nothing. And then the doom side of this niche, real estate mindset and everybody who followed him into it, tells you the dollar is melting, the crash is coming, and you should be stacking gold and silver while you wait. I want to be genuinely fair here, because I'm not going to build this on a straw man. On the fear, they are not wrong. Something is melting. The numbers I'm about to show you prove it more brutally than any gold chart ever has. But here's the problem with that entire corner of YouTube. Their model requires the crash to always be about to happen, which means they can never ever hand you the way out. If they handed you the move, you'd stop watching. So let me hand you the move. The villain in this video is not a person. It's a unit of measurement. Every housing number you have ever been shown in your life is denominated in dollars. Median price, case Schiller, your Zestimate, the appraisal on your refinance, your county assessor's valuation, all of it, dollars. That is the ruler everyone measures with. And in 30 years of housing coverage, almost nobody has stopped to ask the obvious question. What if the ruler is shrinking? Think about it like measuring a child's height with a rubber tape measure. Every year you mark the wall, and the kid looks taller. And he probably is taller. But if the tape stretched 12% that year, you have absolutely no idea how much of that mark is the child and how much of it is the tape. That's what's been happening to American housing, and I'm going to show you the exact number in about 8 minutes. Stay for that because it's the fifth thing and it's the whole reason we're here. So the honest people in my industry looked at all of that and said, we are not doing that. We are not going to price a house in anything except dollars. And here's the thing, they're right to. The entire machine runs on dollars. The appraisal is in dollars, the loan is in dollars, the tax bill, the commission, the title policy, the insurance binder. There is no version of buying an American house where you don't transact in dollars. But here's the distinction that took me 17 years to really understand, and it's the hinge of this whole video. You have to transact in dollars. You do not have to save in them. You borrow in the thing that's melting. You hold the thing that isn't. Hold on to that because it's exactly where we're going to land. So, the 5 things. Number 1, what buying that house actually costs you today. The 5 bedroom on Pershing is listed at $585,000. 10% down at this week's rate, and Freddie Mac printed 6.58% yesterday, with mortgage insurance, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and the HOA. That payment comes to $3,961 a month. The identical house, one block away, same square footage, same pool, same 3-car garage, rents for $2,875. Here's why that matters to you. That is a difference of $1,086 every single month. $13,000 a year. And it's not even the whole gap, because the renter's number is the whole number. When the air conditioner dies in a Phoenix August, and in a 1997 house with 2 units on the roof, it will, the renter makes a phone call. The owner writes a check for $8,000 to $14,000, or he finances it and adds it to his monthly obligations forever. That risk has a price, and only one of these two men is paying it. Number 2, what the market did this week while you were sitting there deciding. Yesterday, the Census Bureau released June new home sales, 628,000 annualized. And here's the number nobody put in a headline: 9.3 months of supply. Anything above 6 months is a buyer's market by every definition the industry uses. We are at 9.3. The median new home price fell to $398,300, down 2.7% from a year ago. Here's why that matters to you. Builders are not cutting prices and throwing incentives at you because they've become generous. They're cutting because they're drowning in standing inventory, and every month it sits, it costs them carrying cost. And all of that inventory is going to sit directly in front of every single resale seller in America, including both men in this Peoria subdivision. If you hit like on this video right now, it genuinely helps it reach the people who need it. And stay with me, because number 3 is a promise I made you 2 months ago that just came true. Number 3, rent is going the wrong direction, and I called it. Back in episode 5, I told you renters were about to get squeezed from both sides. And at the end of that video, I said the one thing to actually watch was multifamily construction completions. Because when that 2021 to 2023 apartment pipeline finally delivered, rent growth would break. That was the near-term signal. It broke. Apartment List has Phoenix rents down 5.9% year over year. The nation overall is down 1.7. Phoenix is one of the steepest rent declines in the entire country. Here's why that matters to you enormously. The single biggest argument against renting, the one your parents will use on you at Thanksgiving, is that rent goes up forever and a mortgage payment is fixed. In this metro, right now, factually, rent is going down. The escalator argument is broken here. And I'll show you in a few minutes exactly how little rent inflation actually changes the math, even if you assume it comes roaring back. Number 4, the buyer on Pershing, and what his file actually says. I pulled his recorded deed of trust. He signed his note on December 22nd, 2022, for $538,350 on a purchase price of $555,000. Do that division. 538,350 divided by 555,000. That is exactly 97.000%. Not approximately, exactly. That is not a coincidence. That is a product. It's a conventional 97. And in almost every version of it, the agencies require that at least one borrower be a first-time homebuyer, meaning no ownership interest in a principal residence for the previous 3 years. 3% down, $16,650. Here's why that matters. That man was a renter. He was exactly who's watching this video. He finally got in. And look at when he got in. The week he signed his note, Freddie Mac's average was 6.27%, and it had fallen for 6 straight weeks from a peak of 7.08. Freddie's own headline that week was, quote, "The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage continues to trend down." He didn't buy the top. He bought what looked like the bottom, on a headline that said relief was coming. By March, rates were back at 6.7. By October, they hit 7.79. He bought the dip that wasn't a dip, and he has been trying to get back out for 441 days. And that brings me to number 5, which is the part everyone skips, and it's the whole thing. Everybody in this argument compares rent to a mortgage payment. Almost nobody asks the only question that actually decides whether buying worked. At what price do you break even? Not profit, break even. Walk away without writing a check. His payoff today is roughly $515,000. Add a realistic commission, title and escrow, and the seller concessions this market is demanding, and that house has to sell for $611,385 for him to simply recover the $16,650 he put down. That is 2.2% appreciation a year, every year, just to get his own money back. And here's the part that should genuinely make you angry. That number does not appear on a single document in the entire mortgage process. It's not on the loan estimate. It's not on the closing disclosure. It's not in the appraisal, the title commitment, or the closing package. There is no box on any federal form where a lender is required to tell you what your house has to be worth for you to be able to leave it. I've sat at thousands of closing tables. I have never once seen it disclosed. And the reason is uncomfortable but simple. Nobody in that room gets paid on the loan you don't take. So take a second and look at your own situation honestly. If you are renting right now and you feel like you're behind, like everybody got in and the door closed on you, I want you to look very carefully at the man on Pershing. He is not ahead of you. He is 1 square foot away from you. He owns the house. He has made 42 payments, and he has less than nothing. He has paid roughly $68,000 in interest and another $6,500 in mortgage insurance that he cannot cancel, because to cancel it on current value, he'd need that house appraised at $687,000. You are not losing a race. You are standing next to somebody who already ran it and finished behind where he started. Now, I want to show you one more thing about that man, because when I found it, I stopped and reran everything from the beginning. I pulled his property tax statements, both the 2023 and the 2026. And on both of them, the mailing address is not the house on Pershing. It's an address 25 miles south in Goodyear. So I pulled that address, 3 bedrooms, 1,446 square feet, and it has been owned by a corporation since September of 2012. It's been listed for rent repeatedly. $11.50 a month in 2012, $10.50 in 2013, $13.50 in 2018, listed through Invitation Homes, with a named leasing agent on the listing. So unless this man owns a piece of a publicly traded landlord, here is what the county records are telling us. The man who owns the 3,400 square foot, 5-bedroom house with the pool that he cannot sell is himself renting a 1,400 square foot house from Wall Street. He is the landlord who is also the tenant. And if you want to understand the actual state of American housing in 2026, that one sentence is the whole thing. But it gets sharper because I looked at what Invitation Homes paid for that Goodyear house. September 2012, $134,000. Today, it's worth somewhere between $339,000 and $382,000. Call it 2.5 times their money, plus 14 straight years of rent from tenants like him. Now put the two files side by side. Same metro, same asset class, same kind of house. Invitation Homes bought in 2012 and made 2.5 times. This man bought in 2023 and has made nothing and is now paying rent to the winner of that trade. Neither of them worked harder. Neither of them is smarter. The only variable that differed was the year they got in. And that's the historical precedent I want you to sit with, because everybody in this niche argues about whether to buy. Almost nobody argues about the only thing that actually determined the outcome, which is when and at what price relative to something that doesn't move. Which brings me all the way back to the ruler. Here is the same American house measured 2 different ways. In 2015, the median American home sold for $289,000 $200. Today, it's $408,500, up 41%. That's the number you have been shown 1,000 times on every news segment in every market update. Now, the same house in Bitcoin. In 2015, the median American home cost 920 Bitcoin. Today, it costs 4.6, down 99.5%. Same house, same 11 years, up 41% in dollars, down 99.5% in Bitcoin. Nothing about the house changed. The only thing that changed is which ruler you held up against it. And the specific house we've been talking about all video, the one on Pershing, when he bought it in January of 2023, it cost 33.38 Bitcoin. Today, that exact house, at its exact current asking price, costs 9.14. Now, if this move is so obvious, why didn't your loan officer mention it? Same reason the break-even price isn't on any form. He gets paid on the loan you take. There is no compensation anywhere in the mortgage industry for the advice to wait. Nobody's commission goes up when you rent for 2 more years. I say that as somebody who spent 17 years being paid exactly that way. It's not a conspiracy, it's just an incentive, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And now I have to be straight with you, because if I only show you the good side of this, you should stop trusting me immediately. So here is the honest case against everything I just said, and I want you to weigh it seriously. First, and this is the big one, that chart is not a one-way street. In 2018, the median American home cost 24 Bitcoin. 1 year later, it cost 81. In 2022, it cost 8.67. A year later, 25.8. Twice in the last 8 years, the house got roughly 3 times more expensive in the exact denominator I just spent 5 minutes selling you on. If you had started this plan in January of 2018 or January of 2022, you would have spent a full year watching your down payment shrink against the very thing you were trying to buy. Second, Bitcoin is not cheap right now relative to where it's been. At the October 2025 top, the median American home cost 3.33 Bitcoin, the cheapest it has ever been in history. Today, it's 6.42. The house has nearly doubled in Bitcoin since October. The 99% crash already happened. What we're in right now is the pullback. Anybody telling you Bitcoin is cheap is selling you something. Third, I am not a financial advisor. I don't sell cryptocurrency, I don't sell crypto collateralized loans, and I don't get paid if you buy a single Satoshi. I'm a mortgage guy. Never, ever put in money you cannot afford to watch get cut in half, because it has been cut in half more than once and it will be again. Fourth, and this is the one my own argument has to survive, the buyer is not automatically destroyed. If Peoria appreciates 6% a year from here, that man walks away in 2028 with about $103,000 in equity on a $16,000 down payment. That's a genuinely good outcome, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. And fifth, the renter in this story has no forced savings and no security of tenure. His landlord can decline to renew him next July, and he moves. The homeowner cannot be evicted from his own bad decision. There is real value in that. And if you have small children in a school you love, that value might be the whole ballgame. Weigh it honestly. Okay, so I backtested it, and here is exactly how, so you can check every step. Bitcoin halvings run roughly every 4 years. November 2012, July 2016, May 2020, April 2024. As of today, we are 27 months past the most recent one. So I went and found the identical 27-month mark in each of the 3 prior cycles. That gives you February 2015, October 2018, and August 2022. And here's what's interesting. All 3 of those were deep fear accumulation windows, exactly like the one we're in. The crypto fear and greed index has been sitting in extreme fear between 11 and 23 for most of this month. Then I ran the renter. He takes the $58,500 he would have used as a down payment, plus his appraisal and his home inspection, and puts it in on day one. Then he invests the $1,086 monthly difference for 24 months. Total deployed, $85,764. Applying each cycle's actual historical price path to today's starting price, the weakest of the three, October 2018, turns 85,000 into 136,502. The middle one, August 2022, 223,872. The strongest, February 2015, 328,327. And here's the part I did not expect at all. In all three cycles, he ends up holding almost exactly the same amount of coin, between 1.18 and 1.32 Bitcoin. And the weakest cycle actually produces the most coin. That's just how dollar cost averaging works. When the price runs away from you, your monthly buy gets you less. So you end up with about 1.2 Bitcoin no matter which cycle history hands you. What changes is what 1.2 Bitcoin is worth. And I stress tested the objection you are right now typing into the comments. I ran the whole thing again with rent rising 5% a year, and then 8% a year, rents going crazy, the exact opposite of what's actually happening in Phoenix. It changed the final outcome by about 1.4%. The upfront lump sum dominates everything. Rent inflation is simply not the variable people believe it is. And for a neutral benchmark, because I don't want you thinking this only works with Bitcoin, that same $85,764 in a boring index fund at 8% becomes $97,901, which still beats the buyer unless Peoria appreciates. That's the part that should really land. So here's what I want to stick with you. Everybody in this argument is asking the wrong question. They're asking whether the renter can buy the whole house. He doesn't need the house. He needs the down payment. Take that Peoria house forward 2 years at 6% a year, and it's $657,306. Now put his stack against it. Worst of the three cycles, 21% down. Middle, 34% down. Best, 50% down. In every single one of them, he clears 20%, and mortgage insurance never touches him for a day. In the middle case, his payment on a $657,000 house is $3,144 a month, $800 less than buying today. In the best case, it's $2,483, less than the rent he was paying. So here is the move, and it has two parts. Part 1. Stack to the down payment, not to the house. 20% is the entire target. 20% is what kills mortgage insurance, drops you into a better rate tier, and turns you from the guy who needs the market to cooperate into the guy who doesn't care what it does. Stop thinking about buying the house outright. That's a fantasy that makes people give up. Think about 20%. Part 2, and this is the piece almost nobody gets right. Do not sell it to buy the house. If he liquidates that stack in 2028, he hands the IRS and the state of Arizona somewhere between $8,800 and $42,000 in capital gains, depending on the cycle. Instead, he borrows against it. A conservative loan at 1/3 of value, a third, not a half, not more, gets him between $45,000 and $108,000 in cash, triggers no taxable event whatsoever, and he keeps every single coin. And you take that loan when the fear and greed index is on the floor, like it is right now, not when everyone's euphoric. Because if you borrow at the top and it falls 80%, you get liquidated, and honestly, you deserve it. That's the discipline. That's not a hype play, that's risk management. And it's the difference between this working and this ruining you. And that is the whole gap between a mortgage insider and a guy on YouTube yelling about silver. He tells you the dollar is melting and hands you a coin to bury in the yard. I'm telling you how to borrow in the melting thing and hold the hard thing, which is the exact trade that every institution on earth is already running, and the only one they never explain on television. I put the break-even calculator up at timtalksrealestate.com/home-value. It's free, there's no pitch, I don't sell coins and I don't sell loans. Run your own number before you make an offer on anything, because the number you need is not your Zestimate. If you made it this far, you are exactly who this channel is built for. Subscribe, because next week I'm taking this same math to a brand new Lennar home right up the road in Peoria that costs $270,000 more for 550 fewer square feet. And I'm going to show you the exact interest rate the builder would have to hand you to make that work. You will not believe the number. And in the comments, tell me this. What does your break-even price have to be? Run the formula, put it below, and I'll answer as many of you as I can.